Hi, and welcome to Coffee with My Sunshine. Today we're going to be working on some really pretty and functional home decor pieces. First, I'm going to be using this wood plaque that I got at Goodwill. I loved the shape of it. Wasn't in love with the color, but I knew I could change that up really easy. I'm also going to be using these handles that I believe I got from a garage sale last year. They didn't come with the screws, so I just had to pick a couple up from my local hardware store, and I think it was under 50 cents. So I'm just going to start by pulling off this metal piece because I won't be needing it. So whenever you see pieces at thrift stores or garage sales or whatever, if they're really reasonably priced, just grab them, even if you don't know what you're going to do with them, because you can always change things up by changing stain color or paint color. You can cut them into pieces and create something else. Just always grab it because you will regret it if you don't. So I'm starting off by sanding off the color that's on the back side of the plaque because that's what I'm going to be using. But I'm going to use the dark, keep the dark color on the bottom because I thought that was really pretty. So I'm just removing all that stain that was on there before, and I'm just going to be using two favorite stains. I've used these before on two other tables. I'll show you a picture here in a second. The first stain is Early American by Minwax and also Pickled Oak. I love layering these two together. Sometimes I mix them. But for this one, I'm just going to start with an old sock. Old socks are perfect for staining. Don't forget your glove or you will be very unhappy with stained hands. So I'm just starting by layering on the Pickled Oak first. This is the table that I did last year for our coffee table. I'll link that video here and up above. Then afterwards, you don't have to let it dry. You layer on the Early American. And you can do this back and forth as much as you want. And here is the picnic table that my husband and I redid as well in the same color. So I just did a couple layers going back and forth and then let it dry. And then after it was dry, I'm just going to take some tools and attach the little handles. First, I'm starting by tracing around the little posts where the handles are. I kind of measured and I kind of eyeballed it. You'll see here in a second, but it turned out really good, so I was happy with it. And I just thought this would be the perfect little tray for like outdoors, like bringing out like lemonade or tea or whatever in the summer. I just thought it was super pretty. And I loved that little knot, or actually giant knot there in the center. So I'm just taking a drill and pre-drilling for the screws. And I actually ended up making them a little bit bigger, but also on the back side, I'm doing like little sunken in spots for the screws so they don't stick out. And I'm just using a bigger drill bit for that. Don't go all the way through or you won't be happy. You just want them to sink down just enough so that they're not scraping a table or anything. So then I am taking this screwdriver, which I definitely recommend. I love this thing. You don't have to, like really get into it. You just basically turn the screwdriver in the direction that you want it to be screwed in, and it works awesome. You don't have to worry about if you have carpal tunnel or any wrist issues. It just does all the work for you. And I believe I already have my favorite tools listed in my description box because I love using them. So the first handle is attached, and I'm just going to do the same for the other one. And this is it all finished. You can definitely put like a polyacrylic or some sort of sealant on the top, which I'm going to do. But I am in love with it. I think it's so pretty. And here is a picture of our next DIY. It's super, super simple. I think you will love it as much as I do. So we're just going to be taking this little white box or crate from the Dollar Tree. I guess it's not white, it's wood. And I'm going to be using just some old-fashioned white chalk paint. And I'm just giving it a good coat. It doesn't have to be super good, especially if you're going with like the vintage rustic or farmhouse look. Or paint it any color you want. You could also stain it. I think that would be really pretty, which I haven't done. I think I want to do that. I'll have to pick up another one and stain it my favorite colors. And I also wanted to show you, I'm always talking about these candles that I like, and I always have them listed in my description box, but I wanted to show you how cute they come when they're shipped. And I have all my favorite summer scents. I'm so excited. I just love these. And like I said before, these are great if you have any issues with like Bath & Body Works candles, or they've been great for us. I guess I can't say they would be great for you, but they don't bother my son or I or my husband. They don't give us headaches or sore throat or anything, and they smell so good. So for the little white tray that we just painted, I am adding some Greenery. These are from Walmart. Super, super cheap, but really pretty. They look real. I think these were either 97 cents or $1.47. Really affordable, and like I said, super pretty. So I'm just putting the sweet lemon candle in here because I'm going to be adding a little bit of lemonade to the tray with my cute little antique teapot. This was one that I got from an antique store recently when I was shopping with my mom and my daughter. It's the Pfaltzgraff Heritage style. I've been collecting those. I just think they're so pretty and just super simple. So let me know, do you guys collect any dishes or have any special like collections that really mean something to you? I would love to hear. And now we are going to move on to this really, really cute rug that I got inspiration from. This, it was actually a picture, but then I found the link to the website. I will link that in my description box if you want to see the original. I think hers turned out gorgeous, but I wanted to recreate it myself. So I'm just using some rope that I had from Walmart. I think using like the really pretty thick rope would look gorgeous. But this is what I had, so this is what I'm using. And I measured out all my pieces to, I believe it was 30 inches. And depending on the size mat that you use, like my mat is from the Dollar Tree, that's going to determine how many pieces of rope you have and also how thick your rope is. So I'm also using liquid nails because in the website that I found, she said that's what worked best. And she said it hasn't budged since. So that's what I'm using. Now I started just using the liquid nails where I just squeezed out a little bead strip across the bottom and then attached the rope, and I wanted some to hang off on either side so that I could fray those edges when I'm done. And the first couple worked out great. They stayed in place, but you'll see here in a second that I really struggled with keeping them in place after I got a few on there. For some reason, once I got, it was like 2 or 3, they started curling up and just being a pain in my butt. So I'll show you what I did to fix the problem. So here is where it was being a little stinker. I had laid down a good bit of the liquid nails and they just started curling. It didn't matter what I did, it wouldn't stay in place. So I thought, okay, maybe if I put some magazines on there to hold them in place, or then I thought, okay, bricks will work. They worked, but then I figured that's going to be super annoying for each strip. So I thought, why not use some hot glue? That dries really fast. It holds really, really well if you're using like the high heat hot glue gun and, you know, like the good hot glue. So I just put it on the very end, let it dry for a second, and it held it perfectly in place while I laid out the liquid nails for the majority of the rope. And then at the very end, I did the same thing with the hot glue just to hold it in place while the liquid nails dried. Like I said, if you use hot glue, usually it will hold really, really well. We'll see how it holds up in the weather, but I know she said the liquid nails works really well. So this is the rope that I got. I know last time I used it for a DIY, you guys were saying you couldn't find it. Well, it's not in the craft section. It's in like where all like the other rope is. I think it's like the automotive home section. So I just continued on doing the same thing with the liquid nails and the hot glue. And by the next day, it was really firmed up and dried. And if you're using the liquid nails and you find that it keeps squirting out, all you have to do is turn that back little metal piece so that it's not putting constant pressure on the container or the little, I don't even know what it's called, the liquid nails bottle. But it stops it so that it's not squishing out when you don't want it to. So this is it, almost all finished, and this is the next day after it had dried. It was a full 24 hours plus some, and this is what the edge looks like that I frayed. I'm also going to be trimming it up so that they're all even, but I'll show you how I frayed them. It was super simple. You can just do it while you're watching TV or whatever. All I did was separate the pieces. You just kind of have to roll the rope in one direction, and then once you get the 3 pieces undone, then you roll, like for mine, I had to roll them the opposite direction to get them to kind of fray. And this was super simple. Like I said, it was time consuming, but it was really kind of just fun and mind numbing. I kind of needed something to take my mind off of kind of what's been going on. We've had some struggles with one of my cats. I know you guys have seen him in my videos before. You always love when he shows up. But he was very sick there at the end. He's been struggling with diabetes for about 3 years now, and it just took a turn there. And so he was needing a lot of care. So that's why I haven't been filming, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So on to the next one. This is kind of like a trivet or just like a little rope plant holder. I guess not a holder, just like a little plant placemat type thing. I have one of these in wicker, but I really wanted to do it in this green rope color. So I'm just taking hot glue, and I'm not using it like all the way around. I'm leaving space because I'm going to go back in with some thread to hold it together as well. I'm not relying on the hot glue, but this is just to hold it in place until I get the thread in there. So I just went around the whole thing here and there and made it as big as I wanted. I wanted it bigger than most of my larger pots. And then when I was happy with the size, I just finished off with the hot glue. And you can see some of the edges are kind of like poking up. That's why I thought the thread would look really cool. And this is the color I'm using. It's kind of like a mixture of like brown and cream. It's like what you used to use when you'd make like friendship bracelets and stuff. But I thought it would be really pretty. I like the combination with the green. And I just doubled it up through a needle and then just kind of wove it through each piece of rope, going in between each piece, and then I went all the way up and then all the way back, hitting the pieces of rope that I didn't hit on the way up, if that makes sense. I just kind of wove it through and then wove it back the other direction to finish it up, and then I tied it at the center. I'll show you here in a second. Super simple. You don't need any kind of sewing experience, but this is going to help to keep the rope pieces in place. And plus it gives it a little bit of interest, I think. It kind of gives me like an antique vintage vibe with the colors that I used. And I just tied it and then added a little dab of hot glue in the knot and then knotted it again so that it wasn't going to budge. And then I just did the same thing all the way around, and you can do as many of the little lines as you want or as few. I just did a couple. And here it is all finished. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you loved these as much as I did making them. And let me know in the comments below what kind of videos you guys would like to see coming up. Thanks so much for all your love and support. You guys mean so much to me. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.